just would like to share something with you on the PowerPoint, but we need, because we need to make it a little bit visual. So the question is, how do you prepare people psychologically and culturally and relationship-wise to do business successfully in Africa? Because a lot of people can do business in Africa, because it's not about doing business in Africa. Raise your hand, please, if you agree with me. It's about successfully doing business in Africa. Everybody can start a business, but there is no guarantee that that business will succeed. So we need to make sure that that we agree on this point. So the whole presentation is about: do you want to learn the ways, what needs to be done in order for business, in order for you to be successful when you do business in Africa? Please raise your hand. Show of hands. I think at this time of the day, the energy weighs a little bit down, and we need to get that energy a little bit up. Please, seriously, do you want to do business successfully and prepare people to do business successfully in Africa? Raise your hand, please. Thank you. Thank you. That's very much better. Much better. Much better. Well, you might not be the person who is relocating to the business in Africa, but still, you still need to organize it for somebody else. And what happens most of the times, or in some cases, what some companies do is that they forget some very important elements. It might be that you finance the accommodation, the visa, everything, and then at the end of the day, somebody comes to your office. That person that you're waiting for to live next week to one of the African countries says, well, I'm sorry, I'm not going. Why? Because their partner, their spouse, their child, somebody in the extended family says, well, this is not a good idea, we're not going. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, this had a consequence. And the consequence is the whole relocation package, the whole program, the whole business is collapsing. And you need to start anew. Or maybe it could be that somebody is coming to you very much excited, very much elated, and very much enthusiastic about moving and doing business in Africa. And say, well, I can do it, that's no problem, I'm the guy to do that. You arrange everything, you show them the way, you bring them to Africa, they are there, and suddenly they are very much shocked, because the language, the culture, the people, the communication is different. So they decide, this is not a good place to spend time in, so I'm going back. And of course, this also has a consequence on the business, on the company, on people, on the receiving organization, on the receiving team, on the sending team, on the person going, and on you, who has organized that. And because of all the mistakes that people make, and because of the mistakes that happen, that they have learned, and they understand the pain that you might be in when you send somebody to a different country, and expecting them to perform. So, if this is where you are, how would it be to be here? How would it would like to be here? Here, you have a full relocation package. Everything is structured, everything is done in a very positive way, and you know everything that needs to be done at every stage. You have loads and loads of people, of professionals, of global leaders, who are ready to spread the word. They have traveled the world, you know, they understand the culture, they understand the communication, they understand. They are not after certainty. Because when you go to a foreign country, do you look for certainty or for uncertainty? Uncertainty. All of you look for uncertainty. Because if you looked for certainty, you would not be here, like me. We all look for uncertainty, and what that means is we are ready to take the action that needs to be taken when it needs to be taken to do what needs to be done in order to be successful. And over here you you have people who really understand how international projects look like. Maybe you have somebody coming from the Netherlands, or maybe somebody coming from Finland and very much excited about working in Africa. And if you don't prepare these people about food, about communication, about even to temperature, because they might be very much excited, but they do not know, if they don't know that they can work at 40 degrees heat, then this will be a problem. Therefore, it's necessary to prepare these people. So, is this a good place to be? Ladies and gentlemen, raise your hand. Excellent. Brilliant. So, if this is where you want to be, how do you get there? But before knowing how do you get there, first of all, let me ask you this question. Why is it so important to be at this area and not at that area? Well, it's very important because within international projects, and nowadays even within national and local projects, but mainly within international projects, you need everybody, you need a team of people who head in the same direction. Because if you have people not heading in the same direction, maybe you expect people to deliver this, and they deliver this. So, you see that there is a gap between this and this, between what you expect and what somebody else delivers. So, what does this gap mean? What does it represent? What is the impact that this gap has on you as a person who is organizing the relocation, who has the company, who wants to invest and grow? What is its impact on the person who wants to have impact? Because nowadays, if you don't have impact, then you are not sustainable. Then you can forget the future. So what is this impact? These impacts mean the difference between a successful and a failed international project. So what we need is, we need to really have a structured relocation program for people and for the organizations so that everybody is heading in the same direction and we know what we need to expect. Because like nowadays, if it's about when you deliver goods to a certain country, or you bring them to the shipping company, they tell you it will be there at this day or that day. And then you can expect as much you can expect today with shipping companies that it will be there at that day. But with people trafficking, because sending people to other countries is a form of people trafficking, it's a form of sending people to another country. As much as you can expect that the boxes will arrive in Lagos next week, but sending a couple with their children and organizing that for them, you cannot expect, you cannot be sure about whether the transition will be good and will be there on time. So, and why is it important now? Why is it important not to delay the process? Why is it important to take action today rather than tomorrow? Because we all know there has been a pandemic and there has been a lot of inflation, but nowadays companies are widespread. And the only thing we heard this morning in this room is an enough reason in order for us to have a relocation process that really focuses on the right people at the right time who can go and do the right things. Because we heard a lot of stories, we heard a lot of questions. I don't want to repeat myself because it will rub our time, but there is a kind of synergy because we've said, well, are people going to go back or not? We're not going back. Somebody says, well, we're going back. Not everyone, but certain people will go back. So, I would like to tell you something about myself, and I wouldn't like to take you with my story chronologically from where I was born to where I am today. I think I would share something with you that makes sense. A story of somebody and of a project that I participated in, which will explain which makes sense within this framework. So it was 2008, and I was working for a giant food and beverage company in Amsterdam, which has a division in Africa. And there was this guy who was responsible for business in Africa, and his name was Johan, how you call it. And Johan was very much stressed professionally, because the company was losing a lot of money, and he lost a lot of contracts, and a lot of clients start to go to the competition. He was stressed because he took stress with him home. Raise your hand if you take stress with you home. Or if you ever take stress with you home. Work stress. I used to take a lot of stress with me home, until I have learned that this was not a good idea. Then I stopped doing it. So, and Johan was in a position that his job was in danger, his relationships and his reputation was in danger, because he was responsible for something he could not achieve. So what we did, everybody was thinking, well, it's his responsibility, because he has a team of people who could not meet the expectations of the company. So what we did is, we implemented what we call the Positive People Relocation Program. And this is what I will tell you, because in this program, the personal side and the family side and the cultural side play a big role. So we started implementing, and maybe they have to change some people within the teams in order to have people who have the cultural awareness, who understand time, who understand other elements within the culture that play an important role. Both here and there, because there was so much intercultural communication. So we implemented that, and we did everything, and then we went on. And then, as a result of that, Johan was very happy. The first thing is that he has a team that he could rely on. The second thing is he started to gain back the customers, and he started selling a lot of projects to customers, because there was a lot of good communication with customers. And he invited customers here to talk with them, to see where their problems were. Because here we say, well, you buy this from me, I deliver it to you, that's it. And for the customer there, now it's more than that. And he started to get very much successful. One of the things is he learned not to take stress home, start to leave stress at work in the office, because you solve what you can solve, and you leave your family with peace. Because the problems at work have nothing to do with the problems at home, and they have nothing to do with the problems at the personal side, like how do you call the spirituality and the spiritual side. Because if we are strong spiritually, we will be strong in different areas. I learned from Anthony Robbins that business is a spiritual act. It's something, it's an impact you make, it's something you help somebody achieve something. It's not about, I sell you this, you give me that amount of money and that's it. No, it's a spiritual act, because you help them, you make an impact with help, and they help you in return. So, as I work with this project and with different other projects, I started to implement this program. And the program is called the Positive People Relocation Program. The Positive People Relocation Program, you see there are people, because you would say, well, relocation, you actually relocate people. You do not relocate something else, but the focus is on people. That's why I put it there, so that the idea becomes clearer that this is what is meant by relocation. Where we put the person, their relationship, their partner, their family, we put him first, because if I would be in Lagos, for instance, and my teenager son is not feeling good, then I wouldn't say, well, my work is priority number one. My priority number one is in private life. Then I try to contribute to him. Because that same company, if I leave that company, it would replace me in how much time? Seconds. Thank you. Yeah. So we need to think about ourselves. And this program consists of 6 elements, and every element Every element tackles one of the most important areas. You see, 1/6, this one is about construct, because in every project that you do, the first thing you need to do, you need to construct something. You need to build the base. You need to build the base. You do not just say, well, John is good in he's an IT engineer, I send him over, and that's it. Project is done. No, we need to do construction work. And what we mean by construction work is, and I will come to this one, we will explain what is in this one. So we need, we call it the free stress selection process, which means how do we find the right person? How do we find the right person to go there? If a team needs to go to the World Cup, you don't go and say, well, let's look, we take a number of people and then we send them to play in the World Cup. What national teams do is that they select, they try to find the right and the best people. They follow a structure, they have a plan. They don't just choose at random. They do not maybe choose one player who is good in something and forget the other areas. The second one is we need to have, when we find these people, then we need to look, are they capable? If they are not capable, then what do they need to be capable? What do they need to show their capabilities? Showing capabilities means making them their second nature. You can't just do them automatically. When you have learned them, of course, you need to grow in everything you do. And if you are here, you need to go here. If you are here, you need to go here. You always need to grow. Business does not need experts. Business needs people who want to learn to become better every day. So it's called the superstar locator. The superstar locator consists of how do you manage yourself, how do you manage your relationships, how do you manage your work, and how do you sustain that when you are in an international project or when you work in a foreign country. The third one is culture, the code of conduct communicator. We talk here about cultural differences. Like the speaker just mentioned about time. Time is one of those. It's one of those elements which plays an important role. Because once we know the cultural differences, we need to use the superstar locator to be able to apply them. Because we do not do everything we know, do we? Do we practice everything we know? No. We practice a fraction of it. Because part of it is intellectual. It's not psychological. It's not part of us. So these two go very much together. The third one is connect. Certainly if we are in a foreign country, we need to have a lot of connections. Connections inside the house, because we need to look at the spouse, we need to look at children, we need to look at the new relationships that we would like to make, because we are in a new environment and we will have new relationships business-wise, and we will have new relationships outside of the business as well. The fifth one is to commit, because when you are there, where you connect and you've done everything, you need to commit to do something, because you're going there for a business objective. How do you realize that business objective? And last but not least, after the project has finished, we do not take those people and throw them in the trash and say, well, thank you, it's done. We need to prepare their coming back. Because how many of you have left your country more than 5 years? More than 5? More than 10? Are you still the same person you were back then?
No.
Which problems do you face when you go back? You become a foreigner. That's what happened to these people when they go and work in the country for a long period of time. When they come back, they're foreigners in their own country. And the mistake companies make is they say, well, they come back home. It's no longer home. It's no longer home. Because everything changed. Everything changed. So we need to help these people to reintegrate in their own culture, and we need to pay attention to retain them, because they have gained a lot of business acumen, they have learned a lot of things, and we want to keep them so that they can help us grow, because This is why I said you have loads of global professionals, because you make them. It does not just come like this, like a dream. You make them through the process. And now let us go into one of these. How much time do you still have? 3 minutes. I need to be quick. Can I extend it a little bit? So very quick, this free stress selection solution. The first one is you need to, it's called probe. Probe, which means you need to analyze, you need to know your people, you need to communicate a lot with them, and you need to understand from them whether they are a candidate, whether they want to be considered to go to a foreign country, to participate in an international project. And if they say yes, you need to assess them and know if they are a fit or not. Because a lot of people would say, well, I would like to go, I would like to go, I would like to go. And then the guy here, he would go very much excited. Heard a lot of things about Nigerian culture or Moroccan culture, and they are very much excited. When they arrive there, they get shocked. You need to test them, to assess them, and then know where they are. Second is, you need a pool of candidates, because you need to have some choice. You need to choose between people. Maybe somebody says, well, I would like to go, but only to Africa. Somebody says, I'd like to go, but maybe to Asia. Somebody says, I'd like to go, but only to France. It depends, and you might have business in different areas. And this program works for different nationalities. You need to have a pool of candidates. The third one is, most important things, is to include the partner in the selection process from the beginning. Because sometimes, the one who works at the company would say, well, it's a good opportunity, it's okay, it will go. But did not realize that the partner has to lose a job too. Because a lot of people are in dual careers, because if somebody leaves the job 4 years, when they come back, they want to find work, people would say, what have you done in the last 4 years? Well, I went with my husband or with my wife to this and this country, but we have not worked. Even if you find employment, even if he or she finds employment, it will not be at the same level. So this needs to be taken into consideration from the beginning. Fourth one is proficiency. You need to know whether the people have technical knowledge or not. Because if they don't have technical knowledge, then they are disqualified. You will not be able to contribute to the success of the project. The fifth one is personality. All of these things might be good, but if the person does not have the personality traits that they need to use in order to succeed in a foreign country, because working home is different than working in the neighborhood, working in a different country. There are a lot of challenges coming with that. It is filled with a lot of uncertainty. And if a person does not value uncertainty, then they do not qualify. Or maybe you need to see if you can teach them so that they can learn that skill. And last but not least, you need to have a panel. You need to have a group of people working on that project. It's not only the sending organization, it's not only the receiving organization, but you need people from the sending organization, you need people from the receiving organization, and you need 2 mentors. You need one mentor to help the person to adjust to that country when they arrive, and you need one person to keep an eye on the changes back home. Because what happens is, some people would go and say, well, I like exotic culture. I love it in Nigeria. I live here, I have a house, I have a villa, I have a swimming pool, I have everything. It will stay like this forever. And then suddenly Shell says, well, we're cutting jobs, you need to come back. And live in an apartment of 50 square meters in The Hague. So you need to prepare people for everything that can take place.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But thank you. This is part of the project. This is one of the elements, but it consists of 6 other elements. I would be very happy to answer questions or maybe discuss with you if you have any questions whatsoever. Thank you very much.
Do we have any questions before we sit? Is there any question? Or we are tired? Are we tired? Yeah? Oh. For me, also everyone. Okay.
You don't have a question for me? What did you think of this program? Can you give me some feedback, please?
Okay. Let me pick that mic.
I have the mic here.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
As a feedback, I think from the way you went through it chronologically was really, really in depth. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think it's something for anyone who actually wants to do business in Africa to take into consideration. But I think on the back of that, I want to quickly ask a quick question.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that we talked about living the stress at home. It's easier to say, living the stress at work. It's easier to say than to actually implement it. How will you be able to do that?
You've said something really good, which I did not say, but I really agree with that. You can live stress at home, and you can live stress at work. You don't need to carry stress. You're not made to carry stress. If you carry stress, that's a different process. That's a different process. And I will explain it in three different steps. You are responsible for yourself. You can control yourself. You can control your thoughts, your actions, your feelings. What else? And what you focus on. You can control what you focus on, what you think, what you believe, what you do, and what you don't do. This is what we have control on. This is what we have control on. The second element, which is another circle, if you can imagine this is one circle, there is a second circle beyond that, which is about the influence. You can influence your relationships. You can I'm talking about influencing positively. You can influence people, you can influence some events, and beyond that, just let go. Let go. If you cannot control it, if you cannot control yourself, if you cannot influence it, let it be. Like if there is an earthquake, or maybe if there is somebody doing something outside of yourself, then you do not need to take it personally. So my quick point is, look at what you can control. Control your thoughts, control your focus, and so on, because if you're taking stress home, it means that you believe something, that you have an idea which is not correct. Because normally, well, you do what you can do, you do your best, and you are happy with your result. And if the company is not happy with you because you're not achieving certain goals, then you say, well, what can we influence without having self-pity, without putting yourself down? Maybe we can talk about that.